Hello, Nicolas Amaniso, and welcome to a tutorial which was requested by JeremyOrangeHedgehog. Under this video, which I will now pull up for myself, you won't get to see it. Blossom Haze dash Press Garden Zone Act 2, open brackets, off hyphen loop mix, close brackets, dash Sonic Mania! The request was regarding how to make off-loop mixes, and some people have asked before, but I think this is the first time that someone has asked for a video tutorial. Well, they didn't specifically ask for a video tutorial, but they did ask for a tutorial, as opposed to what I've previously done, which is talk about it in the comments in a reply. I didn't do it freewillingly. I'll use as an example Blossom Haze, Press Garden Zone Act 2. Forgot the dash in there. If you have your file and you've uploaded it to Audacity or some other audio editing software which can maybe do something similar, you'll want to duplicate the file, which you can do with edit duplicate, or you can use Ctrl+D, and then you want to move it in such a way that one loop of one of these is matched up with the other loop of the other one. You want to get it looking exact, because if you have it even one, what was it called? It's not this, one sample. If you've got it even one sample off, then it'll have a different ending sound when you mix them together. If they do look 100% the same, then that's a bit of a problem, but I'll show you why it is. This looks pretty much the same, not exactly the same, but they look about the same. So we'll now invert one of these. I usually do it with the one that I've moved further along. You'll see there that it looks upside down. I suppose it sounds upside down too, doesn't it? What do upside down things do? What is it? Is it two? No. Two wrongs make a right doesn't apply here. Is it a magnets thing? I think it's a magnets thing. Positive and negative stuff. I'm not in school anymore. Oh, look at that. We've mixed and rendered. You don't actually have to mix and render to hear the differences, but you can do that to see the differences, and then you'll be able to export it. You'll see here that if we do one of them on its own, then it sounds like this. Whereas if they're together, they sound like this. And they sound the same if you've mixed them together, but you can also see it. But there's another thing to show you by showing off Stardust Speedway Zone Act 1. I believe that has previously been requested for me to upload a off-loop mix, but you'll see now why I didn't. If we invert this one, let's make sure first that it's matched exactly. Let's get a look. Does it look exactly the same? Yeah, I think it does. If we invert that and we mix them together, we'll see that it looks like nothing. What does it sound like? It sounds like nothing because we have mixed together two opposite things which are completely the opposite, as opposed to some things which are mostly different, but there's enough things that end up not being so properly different that they end up sort of mixing together and sort of sounding different, but still there. Usually this is how it sounds, but there's something odd with Sonic Mania. As opposed to like this, where the first loop was just copied and stitched in at, let's show you, this exact point right here. I think that Tee Lopes, who composed this music and probably was involved with the recording of it, would have copied the input data and therefore recorded all of this in one. And since there's sometimes inconsistencies with how your computer or something would be responding to that input data, you create some very small inconsistencies that end up resulting in this. But not here where it's been copied, which is the more common way, I think, at least from what I've seen. At least in terms of digital music. With completely analog music, like from video game music in the 80s and 90s, you'll be more likely to get this. But it also will probably be too different, and it probably won't sound as interesting as this, where some pieces actually are completely the same. But you've noticed that there's a second set of Stardust Speedway Zone Act 1. This first one was in FLAC, a file format which every time I record this I keep thinking I'm gonna say the full name that it's short for, and then I don't end up looking it up. So you'll have to do that. But this other set is in MP3. You'll probably be able to tell, even from the start, based on the fact that there's a little bit more silence in the MP3. If we... Oh no, I probably should keep that around, because, well, you'll be able to tell the difference even without it. But let's invert this, and we'll show you what that looks like. Oh, that's not nothing. What does that sound like? This grainy sound is the result of the different bit depth, and as a result, there's some pieces which were I can't fully explain it in such a way that is definitive. It's entirely assumptions. Some people will actually have an in-depth knowledge of the differences between FLAC and MP3. I do not. I simply know that usually most people can't tell the difference between the sounds of FLAC and MP3, especially if it's as high a bit depth as MP3 can go. But here, where we've cancelled out so much, it's pretty easy to tell the difference between a grainy, dusty sound like this and absolute nothing. We can see, for example, if we amplify these, there's a little bit in FLC, very low noise. Usually MP3 seems to have very low noise, but it is much higher. Hence we end up with this. Maybe I should not make it that loud. Let's try 30 instead to show you. I wonder if I should have given a warning for that. Instead, I'll simply transition into the end of this video, which gives credit to JeremyOrangeHedgehog for the request, and to YouTube Ninja 23, who made the original comment under which JeremyOrangeHedgehog replied to, and where I was also. We seem to have bonded in that sense. Also, thank you to Tee Lopes for making the 2 songs which were featured here, one of which was original and one of which was an arrangement of Stardust Speedway from Sonic the Hedgehog CD, composed by Naofumi Hataya. Also thank you to the Lenovo computer which I used to do all this work, and also to ScreenRec, which is the screen recording software I used and I downloaded yesterday, and also the VSDC Video Editor, which I'll be using to edit this video together, assuming that everything was recorded that I wanted recorded. Tot ziens!